Good morning. Utopia. Was a work written by someone called Thomas More, who became Lord Chancellor. He wrote it in Holland. I think he was an envoy or something, or whatever, from England, Britain to Holland. 1515, and then he was, of course, infamously executed by Henry VIII. He stood up against Henry for his behaviour with his wives and all of that. I think that's right. I hope that's right. Anyway, 1515 is right. So that era, and he was a staunch Roman Catholic, and he wrote this work, and it is now, I think, a commonly known concept one has of some sort of idyllic society. I've never actually read the whole thing. I've just had a quick shifty at the synopsis of it. Well, I'm a Christian. I live in the northeastern corner of England, which, as far as I'm concerned, remains a warlike nation, as and when and if push comes to shove. And I referenced this notion, it's in one of Paul's letters, that last week in my film on Sunday, essentially you cannot be a ruler of a state in the world as we know it and a Christian, which is a bit of a problem. So what do? Someone needs to fix the gutters and all the rest of it. The taxes go on. Not gutters, I meant pavements, actually. I said gutters. Whatever. All the things that local councils do, practically, you pay your taxes and then you expect all this stuff to get done. Currently here in Britain we've got the shenanigans continuing with political shenanigans, quite frankly. Well, there we are. And I believe Churchill said, well, democracy is the least worse of the way of ruling people. The Greeks had this notion of you had sort of a patrician leadership, so they were independent, educated, with their own finances, and they would run the place for the good of the people. So it's not a new concept that one wishes for this, whatever one's perception of utopia is, one wishes for it. Well, as a Christian, there it is. It will come at the second coming of Christ. For whatever reason, I re-referenced a very good documentary of a pretty small Jewish ultra-Orthodox Jewish community, which lives in Stamford Hill, sort of North London, in the suburbs. And this rabbi has now died, I believe. But he was a really nice chap, softly spoken, no doubt highly educated. And he was absolutely, just matter-of-factly clear that God's chosen people, the Israelites, the Jews, Hebrews, are only to return to the Holy Land, Israel, now Palestine, if you like, as was, at the second coming of Christ. So what now exists, as far as these very sort of humble but sort of strong in their faith Jewish people are quite clear about, is that the state of the situation in Israel now, Israel stroke Palestine, etc., to me, the Holy Land, the land where Christ lived, is wrong. It is against God. And he states, this a very nice rabbi, that our duty is to love God, but therefore to put all our trust in God, not in ourselves. So that's by way of a preface. What can I add to this? Well, I looked at becoming an MP in my youth, in my early 20s, mid-20s. I'm now 66. The overall picture is very clear. We are to love God, therefore to put all our trust in him, therefore to believe his word, and that there will be a second coming of Christ. That's it. Whether it's in our lifetimes or whenever it may occur. And then to live one's life in the clear and absolute sure knowledge that whatever happens in this earth, our eyes should be fixed. See if I can get this right. On the hills. I lift up mine eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my salvation. Amen. Well, that's it, really. So, I'm not going to change the way the world is practically run. There is a system which has evolved over the centuries. For myself here in Britain, but in England, I don't know in which order one puts this, but as far as I'm concerned, the state religion, the Church of England, is essentially a religious organization of man, albeit purporting to be Christian, but essentially in its foundation, from its foundation and throughout its history, a false organization. Likewise, the whole monarchy thing is false. In God's eyes, we're equal. All human beings are precious and special in God's eyes. Every single hair on the head of your fellow man, woman, and child is precious and special. Therefore, you can't kill them. We shouldn't be manufacturing and selling arms to all and sundry. Yes, albeit with some checks and balances, but tough to that. Doesn't happen, does it? The practical reality of the world in which I live is as it is, and I can't see a straightforward way of changing it. The least I can do, in my eyes, is to continue to see clearly as a Christian and to see the difference between right and wrong. The last chapter of the Gospel, of the Revelations, of the Bible, the last chapter of the Bible, Revelations, speaks of this, the river of the water of the tree of life. I've read it in many times, and how beautiful life will be at Christ's second coming, and all the wrongs will be righted, and all humanity will be living in this wondrous state of grace with God and Christ and all his angels. And that, I think, is what one has to retain within one, albeit we live in the practical world we live in. So I don't have an answer, quite frankly, not practically. What does one do? We've got a democracy, at least you can kick them out every now and then. I mean, the turnaround from a huge conservative majority at the last election to the state of play now, quite frankly, where apparently the current conservative lot are in fear of losing their status altogether. I mean, tough. So, there it is. Just love God. Trust in God. Put all your faith in God. And then whatever flows from that. So there are the two commandments. Love God. Love your neighbor as yourself. Amen. Peaceful here, isn't it?